Hey everyone, this is Nathan Williams with BlackCrane79.com, and I'm back here with another hand history review for you guys. So today's hand was sent to me by Freeborg, so let's jump right into it. He's got pocket fives in middle position there in a 1 cent, 2 cent full ring cash game. So let's jump into the action. He raises it 3 times the blind, totally standard stuff, of course. And it folds around to villain 8 in the big blind, who makes the call. Now, before we go any further here, let's jump into the reads that Freeborg gave me onto this guy. Okay, so this guy is the standard sort of tight passive regular. He's playing a 22-3-3. That is VPIP, PFR, and aggression factor. And I should also mention that this hand was played on Zoom Poker Stars, which, as you guys may know, as I've talked about on my blog many times, these types of games tend to play fairly tight. That's why I don't really recommend them, to be honest, that much. If you want looser games, often the regular cash game tables are going to have looser action. So these kind of players are much more typical with Zoom Poker. So let's keep that in mind as we go through this hand. So we go to a flop. Obviously, it's a really good one. We flop bottom set on a rainbow board there on the 5-ace-10 board. So villain 8 checks to us, and Freeborg goes ahead and makes a standard C-bet there of 10 cents into 13. I think everything is perfect at this point. Bet sizing is good. Definitely want to be betting out here. As I always talk about, just do not slow play ever at these stakes. I mean, you need to be getting all the money. Fast playing your big hands always is the way to win, is to win the maximum amount of these games, is to always fast play your big hands. So this is interesting, though, because villain 8 decides to check raise us. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention, actually, before at the start of this hand, and I hope you guys picked it up, are the stack sizes. And I'm actually kind of angry at myself because I always point out the stack sizes, and I missed this somehow. As you guys can see here, Freeborg was sitting on around 200 big blinds almost to start the hand, and villain 8 is also deep, sitting on around I want to say about 160 big blinds. So the effective stack size in this hand is 160 big blinds, roughly. That definitely changes things quite a bit. When you're basically, when you're playing deep stack poker here, it's you need there's a higher threshold for getting all the money in the middle. Now, when we've got bottom set, though, that's pretty tough, especially in a game like NL2, where they can have damn near anything. But also remember off the top that we talked about how this is one of these very tight passive players who's just knitting it up, probably playing several Zoom tables at once and sitting around waiting for the nuts. Now, on a 5-ace-10 board, we can pretty much remove I mean, obviously, well, let's say right off the top, there's only 2 hands, of course, that beat us at this point, which are pocket aces and pocket tens. So this is a brutally simple hand to look at. We have the third best hand possible right now. The only question is, can he possibly have the number 1 or the number 2 best possible hands? Well, I think we can throw the best possible hand out the window, because no matter how passive this player is, we can almost be certain that he's going to 3-bet us pre-flop with pocket aces. So I'm going to throw that hand out, and I'm going to say that there's almost no chance that he has pocket aces. Could he have pocket tens? Yeah, I do think that a player with stats of, what were they, 22-3-3, those are HUD stats, by the way. For any of you guys watching this who don't know what those mean, basically, these are just stats you get from hands you've already played against these players in online poker. You can use a program like Poker Tracker. There'll be a link in the description below if you want to learn how to get these numbers on your screen. But yeah, also, Freeborg also told me that this guy has a 0% 3-bet percentage. So again, the sample was only around 200 hands, I think. I'm going to assume that this player is going to 3-bet his pocket aces, but this does strike me as the kind of player who might just slow play his pocket tens, just call with his pocket tens preflop. So could he have pocket tens? Yeah. Could he have ace 10? I think that a player like this definitely plays ace 10. There's obviously a lot more combinations of ace-10 than there are of pocket aces or pocket tens. So while it is possible that he has a better hand at this point, if we decide to make, some sort of hero soul read in a spot like this, we're kind of getting into that situation where we're leveling ourselves into thinking that this guy can only have one hand possible. Now, obviously, difficult factor in this hand is the fact that we're 160 big blinds deep. Does change things a lot. I think that if we were only 100 big blinds deep, I'm never even going to consider folding in this spot. But 160 definitely does change things. Now the question is, what should we do in a situation like this? Should we just call? Or should we put in the 3-bet in a spot like this and just fast play the heck out of this thing? Well, Freeborg decides to just go ahead and put in the 3-bet. And as much as I talk about fast play all the time in these games, I'm actually going to say that this is one of the few situations where I would actually prefer to just flat the raise in a spot like this. And it's really just because of the player type we're up against. I think that when we put in the 3-bet in a situation like this, it's going to fold out definitely all as ace-jack, as ace-queen, all hands like that. So those are hands that I would rather just keep in the pot. And I think he's going to stick around with his ace-10, his pocket tens, and that's pretty much it. So I would prefer to fast play the heck out of this hand versus a recreational player because they're not going to fold anything ever, as we've talked about a million times before in these videos, on my blog and in my books. You always want to fast play the crap out of your hands versus recreational players because they're just not thinking about what you can have. They're going to look down and say, oh my god, I've got ace-queen, I can't fold ever. But a regular, we're up against a regular in this hand, is going to look and say, whoa, hang on, this guy's 3-bet me on the flop here. Maybe my ace-queen isn't any good here. Let me make a disciplined fold. So I hope you guys are following my logic in a spot like this. So while I think that fast play is almost always the best option in a game like this, I think in this particular situation, I would rather just flat on the flop. Now, this is gross. This is really, really gross, guys, because now we have this tight passive player who just wants to play for all of the money on the flop. Now, okay, so the thing about poker is, as we make different decisions in a hand, we can narrow down our opponent's range, especially when we're up against a regular sort of thinking opponent like this. We can actually put them on a range as compared to a recreational player who is going to, like I said, is going to go, oh my god, I have ace-queen, I go all in. A regular player with stats of 22-3-3 is going to be thinking on a little bit more higher level than that. And they're not going to go crazy here with an ace-queen. I don't even think this player is going to make this play with ace-10. I think this player is just going to call. So this puts us in one of those absolutely gross spots where, honestly, he is kind of screaming at us right now that he has pocket tens. I hate to put a player on exactly one hand because I think that is a very bad thing to do in almost all situations in poker. We always want to be thinking in terms of ranges, as I talk about all the time. But given the way that this hand is played out versus this particular player type and the action on the flop here, I think there's a very high probability that he does have pocket tens in this spot. Now, am I good enough to fold? I don't know. I want to say that I am, but in the heat of the moment, probably not. I don't think many people are going to be folding bottom set here. I think with 160 big blinds, though, I think you do, as an effective stack, I do think you need to consider it in a spot like this versus this particular player type. But I think that the most important thing is just a flat on the flop. I really think that makes this hand a lot easier. I mean, we might still lose all our money, but I just think it makes our decisions easier throughout the rest of the hand. Let me just get to the results here because I know you guys want to see that. Freeborg did, in fact, make the call. We'll go to the results here, and he does, in fact, have us set over set. So, guys, this is one of those classic cooler spots here where we're set over set. As I always talk about in these spots, really the only thing you need to ever ask yourself is switch the hands, okay? Give us the pocket tens, give him the pocket fives, and just ask yourself, does he ever get away versus us? I think that very, very few players in these games, even in a deep stack hand like this, are ever going to be folding versus us when we have them set over set. In poker, everything levels out over the long run when you play thousands, hundreds of thousands of hands, millions in some cases it takes. It might take a million hands, but it will level out. And eventually we're going to have the pocket tens and they'll have the pocket fives. The set over set situations will level out in the end. So, like I said, you only need to ask yourself, do they fold to us? I don't think so very often. So then this becomes essentially a neutral EV wash where, in the long run, it's going to be, we're going to be breaking even in a spot like this because they're not folding to us either when the shoe's on the other foot. However, I like to think about poker on a little bit of a deeper level than that and ask ourselves if we could get away in a spot like this. I think it's debatable. I'll be actually really interested in your guys' comments and thoughts on this hand in the comments below. Because it is 160 big blinds deep, and we are playing against one of these, ultra nits in Zoom poker where, it's a single raise pot and, there's no draws on the flop. There's not a whole lot else to say. I mean, the guy, is he really ever going to play even ace-10 like this? I don't think so. I think that this is really the only hand possible that he plays this way. And as crazy as it might sound, I do think that there's a very legitimate argument to be made for, if we're going to if we're going to make the 3-bet on the flop, I think there's a very legitimate argument to be made for folding to his, when he shoves all in, when we're deep like this, on this flop here. So, anyways, super interesting hand. Thanks for sending it to me, Freeborg. At the end of the day with these set over set situations, as I always say, if they're not folding to us when the roles are reversed, we really don't need to worry about it too much. It's not going to make a huge difference to our win rate. But if we want to play at the most optimal level possible, we want to be looking at a hand like this and asking ourselves, is it possible to make a fold? I do think it is, but I'm not certainly not going to blame anyone for getting all the money in here. But, if we want to play at the highest level possible, yeah, I think, we really think this hand through. Yeah, I think you probably could find a fold on the flop there. But anyways, I'll be interested. Like I said, I'll be interested what you guys think. So let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts on this hand in the comment section below. Do you ever get away here? Or are you going to make that Daniel Negreanu soul read? You've got him on the pocket tens and you're getting away from your pocket fives here. Let me know in the comments below. You're a poker superstar if you're getting away here. If you guys enjoy watching hand history reviews like this at the micro stakes, the stakes that you guys actually play at, make sure you guys give this video a like and also subscribe to my channel. I'm putting out videos like this on a regular basis. And lastly, make sure you grab a copy of my free poker cheat sheet. It's called Massive Profit of the Micros. It's the top link in the description below. It's a roughly 50-page little free ebook, and that will give you my complete strategy for beating these games. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. It's been Nathan Williams with BlackRain79.com.